Hello guys and welcome to my channel Paisa Sports. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a very interesting video. In this video we're going to be previewing the games for the Champions League this week. I'm mainly going to focus on the two ties that are still alive, which are Real Madrid and PSG, and Tottenham versus Juventus. Liverpool and Porto tie, that one's pretty much wrapped up 5-0 for Liverpool in Portugal, so that game is pretty much done. It's just a formality. Man City Basel is pretty much the same thing. Basel got destroyed by City and Swiss, so that game is done as well. So let's get right to it. Let's start with the first game. First game we're going to talk about is Tottenham versus Juventus. Tottenham are going to be playing at home in this return leg. They got a huge result on the first leg at Italy, a 2-2 draw. To me, it was an upset. I did not expect that at all. But because the game was so evenly played, I struggled a lot to make a prediction for this game. I struggled to find keys here and there. So I had to overanalyze this game to find little nitpickings to see what can set each team apart. We're going to start with Tottenham here. They need to score first. They're at home. They need to get the crowd into it as soon as possible and turn the momentum their way. They're obviously the less experienced team. So an early goal that gives them the confidence that they need would be huge. It will throw Juventus off because they'll have to play something that they're not used to, which is catch up. They'll have to go forward and they'll most likely leave spaces in the back that Tottenham can take advantage of. Talking about the first leg, Ali and Eriksen were huge. They tore down that Juventus defense in the second half. They created spaces, they shifted them around. They made Chiellini look like an amateur defender at times. He made a lot of mistakes. He looked really slow on the ball. But that was also thanks to Ali and Eriksen's movements and the way they were finding spaces. So they need to repeat those performances to have a realistic chance of making it through. They can't let Juventus score first. This ties into the first point that we had talked about. If Juventus score first, they're probably going to take the crowd out of the game. They're going to get nervous. Tottenham, the less experienced team, might get desperate. They might leave more spaces in the back. And then you're going to give Juventus a chance to park the bus, slow the game down, play the game they want to play, which is pretty much hold the lead. They're a very defensive team still. Even though they have a lot of good attacking options, they'll gladly sit back and counter. And Tottenham probably can't handle that type of game, even if they're at home. Tottenham need to maintain the pace of the game quick. That is what they did on the second half in the first leg. They just ran. They were very vertical, getting there through the flanks. Eriksen and Ali kept diverting play, and that really affected Juventus. So if they maintain a quick pace, that's not the pace that Juventus like to play at. They're not really used to it because in Serie A, the game overall outside of Napoli is really slow. So if Tottenham can maintain the pace of the game quick, they're going to disrupt that defense and it's going to open a lot of scoring chances. And obviously, if you have Harry Kane and you have scoring chances, you're most likely going to score 1 or 2 goals. And in my opinion, that's all that Tottenham needs in this game. Defensively, though, they need to watch out for Dybala. He's coming back. He's resurging from his poor form a couple of months ago. He's been scoring important goals left and right. He just scored a 93-minute winner against Lazio. That gave him the first place in Serie A. So he's coming in confident. He's coming in good form. So he most definitely needs to be accounted for in this game. For Juventus, it's kind of the opposite. Score first. You have to score first in this game if you want to have a chance of going through if you're Juventus. Why? You score first. Like I said, you swing the momentum your way and you can play your game. Play more defensive, play slow, build a play with lots of touches, keep possession, take the ball away from Tottenham because you don't have that pressure of having to go up. Tottenham will eventually get desperate to find that tying goal, and then you can score that second goal. That would really give them a boost because even if Tottenham were to tie the game, that would send it to extra time. And if that were the case, I would have to go with Juventus in extra time just because they're the more experienced team. They've been here before. I mean, they were runner-ups just last year. They need to avoid those uncharacteristic defensive mistakes that they made on the first leg. Gigi Buffon made a mistaken goal. I had not seen that for at least 3 years. Very shocking to me. But if they come in focused on how they usually play defense, they have a really stronger chance of going through than if they make defensive lapses. And if Chiellini especially plays as bad as he played in the first leg, they probably won't go through, because he's that anchor in that defense. So he needs to refine his form. Gigi needs to refine his form. Barsagli's coming back, so that's going to be a huge boost for them. So we will see for Juventus how that works out. Pjanic must be the creative force. He's been having an amazing season, resurgent. He finally broke through. He wasn't getting much minutes in the previous season. Now he's an undoubted starter. Even more now with the Matuidi injury. So Pjanic needs to be a factor here. The play needs to go through him. He needs to create the chances. He needs to win balls back. He needs to be a very versatile player in this game. He might be huge for Juventus. If he has a good game, if he's able to disrupt Ali and Eriksen, that could be the deciding factor here. It could be huge. I would say Juventus coach Allegri needs to give Dybala freedom in that final third. If that player can get freedom and he can get the ball in different positions. Dybala is one of the most dangerous dribblers in the world, and he also has great finishing, great instincts in front of goal. So if he's given freedom, he can really affect that Tottenham defense, which is not the best, to be honest. I will say that one of the biggest weaknesses for Tottenham is their defense. So if Dybala gets a lot of touches and lots of possessions, he can really create havoc and score goals, which is what Juventus need. The second game we're going to preview is Real Madrid versus PSG. Saw that game live. I was kind of surprised at the score at the end, the 3-1. I thought PSG dominated large parts of that game and did not deserve to go down 2 goals. Real Madrid are king of Champions League for a reason. They still managed to get a great result, even though they didn't play that well. I blamed Emery because of that change. Once he put in that 5th defender, he threw off PSG's balance. Surprisingly, even with that 5th defender, he gave Real Madrid a lot more spaces, and they took advantage of that. Casilla noticed that, and he put in Gareth Bale, Marco Asensio, 2 really vertical players that are really good with space. And especially Marco Asensio, he wreaked havoc on that PSG defense, so that was a huge factor. It's 3-1, but it's not that at all. Neymar's not playing, which is huge. But I don't think PSG are such a Neymar-dependent team. I still think they can pull this off, but it's obviously going to be a lot harder with their main playmaker. They also got to play against the experience of their kings of Champions League, which are Real Madrid. Let's get into the key factors here really quick. For Real Madrid, they hold the 3-1 lead. There's a lot of question marks with this team right now. Well, Modric and Kroos played. We know that they made the squad, and they traveled with the squad for tomorrow's game. But they just came back from injuries. Modric was out about 4 weeks. Kroos has been out since that first leg with the knee spray. So I'm not sure if they're going to play or not. If they do play, it's going to affect the lineup, because I'm sure if they don't play, they're going to go with a 4-4-2. If they do play, they're going to go with the traditional 4-3-3 that Zidane likes to play with in Champions League. So they can alter a lot of things, and they can alter their game plan as well. Modric had a great game in the first leg. Kroos is a midfield maestro. He can control the tempo. He's really good at distributing the ball. So having them 2 out with the experience that they have would be a huge blow, even though they'll still have Casemiro and Mateo Kovacic. I'm not sure if Zidane will be all too comfortable with both his midfield aces sitting down for this game. Carvajal and Marcelo are back. Carvajal didn't play the first leg because of a suspension. Marcelo was an injury doubt up until just Saturday when he made the squad. So that's a huge boost for them. They obviously didn't have Carvajal. Neymar isn't playing, but Carvajal still needs to take care of business. Most likely Di Maria will start on that side with Mbappe playing on Marcelo's side. But having the 2 fullbacks there is going to give Madrid a lot of confidence. mostly because those fullbacks give a lot of offensive output. They make a lot of runs. They're both great crossers. So that's something that Madrid would have sorely missed if they weren't available. But they are, so that's good news for them. Big question mark is, who starts on the other side of the midfield? Zidane has always said when the BBC is healthy, they play. But Gareth Bale played on Saturday the entire game. Isco played around 60-something minutes, and Asensio only played like 15. So I'm unsure. I know Benzema is going to start a striker. That's pretty much done with Cristiano Ronaldo. But if they do play that 4-3-3 lineup, who's going to be on that other side? Is it going to be Bale? Is it going to be Isco? Is it going to be Asensio? Is he going to sit Benzema and put in somebody else? There's a lot of question marks here. In my opinion, if I were Zidane, I think I would consider Bale, just because he is more established. He has experience playing these games. He's been scoring lately. He's been on great form since coming back from injury. But I'm not sure if I should take it as a kind of like a warning that since he played those 90 minutes on Saturday, he might not start. He might bring him out as like a spark plug if things aren't going so well. So if you were to ask me, I think he might repeat lineup and start Isco. Even though I think the best case scenario for Zidane would be to start Bale. Real Madrid must control the pace of the game. They like to do a lot of touches, keep a lot of possession, but they're still very vertical and very fast. So they need to play at the tempo that they want to play so the game doesn't get out of hands. They've been terrible handling counterattacks all season this year. So they need to watch out for those counterattacks. Because even though they don't have Neymar, they still have Cavani, Mbappe, and like I said, Di Maria is most likely going to replace Neymar. Those are three lethal players. They can open spaces. And if they're caught on those 3-2 situations that Madrid has been getting caught on all season, it's going to be a long night for Real Madrid, and that lead might evaporate really quickly. Real Madrid need to look to score quickly to take PSG out of the game. They score one, and PSG needs to score 3 to force overtime. So scoring one goal would be huge for Real Madrid, and if they do it first, that's going to be even better because the morale for PSG is going to go to the floor. And they're most likely going to push up like any other offensive-minded team would to look for that tying goal. And Real Madrid are going to have even more spaces to increase the lead and probably end the tie then and there. They need to be more consistent though. They were lucky not to concede more goals in that first leg. The midfield was shaky in points of the game. The defense also was shaky. They were just lucky that PSG just didn't have a good day in front of goal. They were very wasteful. So they need to be consistent. They need to lock down. They need to be in their best form. And when I say best form, I pretty much mean last year's form when they won the Champions League. So they need to come out focused and ready to play a complete game, full 90 minutes, because that's what's going to be needed from them to go through in this tie. PSG, the keys here, let's start with keeping Ronaldo in check. Ever since 2018, Ronaldo has been scoring in bunches. He looks like his old self. He looks like he's ready for another assault at the Ballon d'Or, even though I still think Messi's a little ahead. But Ronaldo has been playing good. He's been scoring. He's finding his touch again. He's being his lethal self. So PSG need to make sure that he is taken into account at all times. Thiago Silva is probably going to start this game, which was surprising that he didn't start the first leg. But he's most likely going to be the one in charge of keeping Ronaldo accounted for. Thiago Motta came back from injury. He's going to be huge. He's the one that balances that midfield. If he does play, because I mean he's been out for a long time, so maybe Emery would not trust him back right in. But if he does, he gives PSG a different balance. He plays kind of like the Casemiro role for PSG, which is winning the ball back, being an extra defender when they don't have the ball, and being a distributor when they do. He has a slightly better touch than Casemiro, so if he is available to play, he's going to be huge. PSG, in my opinion, cannot concede. They need to keep a clean sheet in this game to have a chance at moving on. Madrid score 1 and they need to score 3. And even though Madrid has been shaky on defense, I think 3 goals is a lot to ask for our PSG in this game. So don't concede. They can't make crippling mistakes, like for example that penalty. That penalty was completely unnecessary. Kroos barely had any space, and then the PSG defender still decided to pull him from the back. That was a very childish foul. So they need to stay focused, play a mistake-free game, because that's pretty much what you need to beat Madrid in the Champions. You need a perfect game. Emery must avoid becoming too defensive. He made that mistake 2 years ago when he blew that humongous lead with Barcelona. Made that mistake on the first leg as well. Stuck in a 5th defender to try to lock the result, and he just threw the team completely off. Emery needs to keep his foot on the gas, keep attacking, keep the flow in football that PSG are known for nowadays. He cannot get complacent if they go up 2-0 and they look like they're going to go through. Cannot get complacent and once again sit back and try to hold the lead. That is not how you beat Madrid. Emery needs to keep it offensive, score as much as possible. He needs to try to take Madrid out the way that his team knows how to play, which is scoring in bunches. So let's get right into this predictions. Tottenham versus Juventus. Tough game to predict. I'm going to go with the upset pick here. I'm going to say that Tottenham wins 2-1 and sends Juventus packing. Like I said, tough game to break down, tough game to find keys. But Tottenham are going to be at home. They had a great first leg, and I see that they have too much firepower. And they're going to go through by the score of 2-1. PSG, Real Madrid, also a tough game. But I think ultimately the loss of Neymar and the experience that Real Madrid have in this competition are going to be the biggest key here. I don't see much between these teams regardless. Real Madrid's shaky form are going to lead them to concede at least one because they can't keep a clean sheet. So I see this game being a 1-1 tie. PSG are going to go home really disappointed because after all this investment, they're not even going to be able to get to the round of 16. That is how I see things. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video, guys. If you like what you heard, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Please, if you have different opinions, if you don't agree with something or you think I missed something, please leave a comment below. I love to hear you guys' feedback, and I'll see you guys next video.